Hey Snakey, hey Chris, hey Robson, hey Panda, hey Zhangji, hey Catalonia. How are you guys doing? Today's theme is one of positivity. I know it's rare for me, but I'm giving it a shot until I lose a blitz game, and then we're back to our normal ways. Um, so I'm gonna ask everyone today what was the best thing that happened to you today. And like 10 minutes ago, I was going to say I went for a nice walk and had a nice chat with my mom, which is very wholesome, which is what you want to project to the people. But I just got an email that I'm getting my money back. The airline canceled my journey. It's taken them 2 months, but now they're saying they're actually gonna give me my money back. So screw my mom, screw going outside. I'm getting money. I'm rich. Hey Cluex, hey Goldick, hey Ataradov, hey Chifrany, Virtus, hey Bateman, Remy. Panda, normally I go in the order in which the challenges arrive. But yeah, we're gonna be fine. You're pretty early in the queue. It's too early to tell in the US, Atardov. Yeah. Well, what can I say? You should move eastwards. Get your day over with quicker. Hey Dutch defender. Millionaire? Maybe not a millionaire, but it was a trip to New York that got cancelled. So it's not nothing. And also, to my surprise, Um, I got my money back from Norwegian before I got my money back from SAS. In case you're not familiar with Norwegian, they have been pretty close to having to declare bankruptcy the last couple of weeks. Uh, so I was actually not very optimistic about getting my money back, which is extra cost for celebrations. You had an awesome call with a winery, chatting and getting advice on great wines. Wow, Snakey, that's cool. Well, and also, Snakey, you have a cellar? That seems ominous. What kind of people these days have a cellar? If not, like, for dungeon and, suspicious activities, dungeonous activities. Got same situation here. They said earliest 28 days, but don't contact them until 90. Yeah, no, for me, it's like SAS told me that they would pay me back within 5 working days. And that's now 1.5 months ago. Um, so, yeah. Since New York is the epicenter of the virus, canceling the trip is also positive news for you. Yeah, it was probably not the worst thing in the world that my trip got canceled. Hey, Kama. Tactics Frenzy is awesome. I'm glad you like it, Shifrany. I'm planning to play some Tactics Frenzy on stream um, on Wednesday. Don't you have a cellar? I mean, I do, but it's very dungeony, hence my concern. Bergen, you got a full refund from Norwegian in March? I feels like you got very lucky then. You have all of Magnus's apps. And which one is your favorite, Chifrony? And don't by any means feel any obligation to say Tactics Frenzy, even though that is the only app I have contributed to. I mean, I don't want to influence your choice as to which Play Magnus app is your favorite, but I will mention in passing that I have contributed to the Tactics Frenzy app and none other. But as I said, don't let that affect your decision. I think I worked out where all of Hammer's students who traded their bishop pair voluntarily are. What are you talking about? Botez is not in my cellar. I don't know. I don't have that many students, and most of the students follow my advice. However, should Botez come to Norway, that is definitely a potential way to improve behavior. Hey CJ, I'm not sure I got that joke. Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know, CJ. I feel like every time you're in chat, we need to up the parental guidance code. Every time CJ's in chat, we gotta change our content advisory. Imagine I knew the word for that. I'm proud of me. Yeah, no, Snaky, in Norway, we don't have wine cellars. But we have specialized fridges for wine. I'm not even kidding. One apartment I looked at had this. They had like a separate thing for wine storage. A wine. They call it a wine skop, vinskap, which is like wine cupboard or no wine. Yeah, but I'm assuming it's refrigerated. I'm pretty sure it is. Locking Botes in your wine cellar is not the key to improving her behavior. Well, we're not going to know until we test, Nisha. Oh wow, Shifrani, despite my many attempts at subliminal messaging, actually decided to go for something other than the Tactics Frenzy app. I really thought I was being brilliant there. Hey, Friedel. It's not like a dungeon, to be fair, is what everyone with the dungeon says. Oh, we actually had a discussion about British comedians the other day. And there's a funny one with Mitchell and Webb, an evil genius, in which he's trying to install a trap door in his evil mansion. Somehow this discussion of dungeons reminded me of that sketch. Morning, Bakus. How are you doing? No, I have never tasted surströmming, nor will I ever. Also, that is Swedish nonsense. But for the record, I've not even had the Norwegian nonsense. My dad, every Christmas, he has this ridiculous Norwegian dish with some friends of his. Yeah, it's horrible. It's what's it called? It's called lutefisk. It's fish in that has been marinated in soap. I want to talk to the guy who thought, soap. Yeah, that's nice. Let's put this fish in some soap. Cluex, I don't think I noticed. But yeah, my notifications were going crazy the other day. Yeah, Crow, not even kidding. It's not Norwegian cuisine leaves something to be desired. I think that's the short version of it. What's your favorite chess book? I don't know, Goldick. There are many books I've found interesting. Um, but I guess the Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual is a pretty good one for improving your endgame, and it's pretty well organized. I also liked The Road to Chess Improvement by Yermolinsky. Okay, Panda has to go, and also he's next in line. So let's go. Mario is definitely the first person. I'm sure no one objects to me calling you the first when there's 100 other people here. But no, the craziest thing I've ever eaten, Bakus, is I was at a tapas restaurant in Reykjavik, in Iceland, and I had snails. And let me tell you, snails is a scam. And also, I was not sophisticated enough to have snails, so I started chewing it. That was a mistake. You're not supposed to do that. Because once you start chewing, you never stop. That is some slippery stuff right there. So apparently, you're basically just supposed to swallow it. But, but the funny thing about my snail experience was that I kept the shell of the snail I ate. So somewhere, I'm pretty sure I know where it is. Also, but it's at my mom's. Um, I have the shell of the snail I ate in Iceland. Sheep testicles in Greece. Okay, yeah, that's. I don't know. Somehow that sounds worse than my snails, Marius. Very rubbery. Yeah, it's yeah. You never stop chewing, Thulu. Remy says, in chess as in music, books are essential for understanding concepts. I'm not sure I understood the last part of what you said, Remy. But yeah, I generally agree. Chess books is, well, it's my upbringing. It's what I did when I was a kid. Definitely did blunder 94. Oh man, I gave away my bishops. Oh, actually, I get a pawn, so I'm fine. Bateman asking questions about the game we just played, and embarrassingly, I'm uh, I'm forgetting how the game went. Bateman, as I remember, I got the bishop pair very early on. Um, so I'm gonna say I was just better there from the get go. You disrespected your bishops, and you're wondering what went wrong. Actually, can I capture this one? I take bishop, he takes rook, I take rook, he takes rook, I take pawn, threatens rook. That looks devastating, actually. I'm glad I didn't pre-move after all, because this is game over. What's up with everyone having strange foods in Iceland, Jake? Wow, food discussions people were interested in. I just wish I had a more interesting palette then. Pretty sure this is going to be pretty bad for Mr. Panda. Mr. Panda has gotten somewhat destroyed this game. I feel like maybe he shouldn't have listened to when I mentioned that knight e4 was a potential move. Because I just say things. I don't calculate things before saying them. I think that's worth keeping in mind, you guys, for your next challenges. Because in this case, it did not work out for the panda. Because Iceland is full of strange food. Well, I mean, I was at a Spanish tapas place, right? But are you saying that like the Reykjavik restaurant scene is more interesting than most other places? In which case, that's interesting. Bishop hanging on b2. Yeah, that's true. So Panda could have taken this one, but then, I'm still a pawn up. But here I'm threatening b4 and I'm threatening queen takes d6. So probably knight e4 was the best move. Because you're going to lose this pawn no matter what. And here at least you get the bishop pair. But this was a mistake. Strangely enough, because I had pre-moved bishop takes e4. It was only after I realized that this line is just instantly winning. Yeah, thanks for the game, Panda. It was, there were a lot of captures. It was an exercise in calculation, and I got it right at the end. Bacchus has had sheep eyes and tongue. Yeah, you guys have eaten some weird stuff. How can you chew on snails? Well, I mean, it's pretty easy. It's just time consuming, Jake. It wasn't the activity of chewing the snail wasn't difficult. It was just never ending. Snails are so good with garlic. Wow, Kuluex. I'm trying to remember what my second weirdest food is. But I think snails is the only weird food I've ever had. Grasshopper tacos? Wow, Marius. No, I'm here, Jake. I don't know. I think I need to reorganize how my chat works. Maybe have yeah, I'm not sure. But I scroll up and down a little bit to make sure I caught everything. Boring, let's riot? No. Well, yes. Expanding horizons is within reach. Oh, that's what you wanted to do with that comment, Marius. Yeah, I don't know. I did read a couple of years ago that grasshoppers were going to be our, well, insects were going to be our next big protein, but I haven't seen much writing about it the last couple of years. Did we decide not to farm insects after all? Yeah, good try, CJ, but it seems the masses are not with you. How did this become very strange? A4. Ah, after A4, I'm supposed to go bishop D7. Yeah, I'm supposed to go bishop D7 here. I confused the lines, and now I'm paying the price. Okay, I understand what went wrong now. Friedel, we're doing 3+2 games. I've decided that we should have increments so that I don't lose on time. Unfortunately, I've discovered that sometimes means I also cannot win on time, but you win some and you lose some. Wow, Jake. Be nice. Poor Ulan. Well, also, I guess Ulan was trying to. I can't understand whether he was trying to insult pineapples or promote pineapples. Because if he was trying to insult pineapples, I am with you, Jake. I support your endeavor. I actually bought pineapples today. Went to the store. They're so cheap. Yeah, I get these um, boxed pineapple kind of pieces. So good. So good. Hey user, how are you doing? What did Ulan say? Nisha, Ulan was promoting, I think, pineapples. In which case, definitely mod abuse by Jake. But if Ulan was saying negative things about pineapples, then he deserved it. Apparently, Jake is anti-pineapple. That's a bold position to take. Grasshopper is a cocktail? Yes, dude, I do know that. It might be the only cocktail I know in this entire world. That's the influence modern TV has on us. You heard pineapples used to be crazy expensive 100 years ago? I mean, of course they should be expensive, Marius. That's why I'm saying it's sensational how cheap I can get pineapples these days. Because they're so good, the price just shocks you. Soti is going down. I don't know. He was trying to capture my knight. He was trying to capture my knight, and I saw it, and somehow I still didn't do anything about it. In my head, moving that bishop, I mean, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, he's trying to take my knight. Ha ha ha. Like, that's gonna work. I could have just moved my king away, but no, I didn't do that, did I? Oof. Yeah, this is not great, is it? Somehow I let his knight get into the game as well. It's very disappointing. Might take this guy though. Yeah, that's a good move. Oh man. Do you consider doing a simul? No, Mike Burnout. I'll take on individual challenges. Can you show why you didn't take the tower on the... Yeah, I can do that afterwards. Iron. I had a good reason, I assure you. Okay, I still got plenty of counterplay. Okay, I'm not sure that was a good idea. Sir! How are you going to stop my pawns? Sir, what are you doing with your bishop? This is not it. Actually, he has knight d1. It's kind of annoying. Okay. Yeah, that was not the move I should have played. Okay, but now we're doing fine. We're doing fine. All is good with the world. Any new invitational information on the Magnus Invitational this month? What on earth are you talking about? Magnus Invitational this month? I know of no such news. Wherever do you have this information from? Hikaru. Yeah, I know where you have it from, Drunken Soul. It's being announced tomorrow. So stay tuned on chess24.com for more information. Oh, never mind. I just got a message. Okay, never mind. Sorry, guys. It's being announced on Thursday. You're in no way responsible for the rumor that... No, I mean, I know Hikaru was... Well, I know Chess Bay was spreading it. People, I'm taking challenges for 3+2 games. Quinton, Zhangzhe, Dudeheit, Friedel, all of you guys are challenging without increments, and we have changed our policy. The same applies to Freylos and aerial boundaries. And back to attack. And Jupe, challenge me for 3-2. Actually, do I... I'm going to send someone a message. Hikaru only hinted at it and did not reveal the complete awesomeness. Yes, Mr. Dodgy. It has been hinted at, and there will be more information available this week. But before that, you can be excited for the Steinitz Memorial Blitz Tournament starting May 15th, which includes Magnus and Grishchuk and Dubov. Some Dubov won the World Rapid Championship 2 years ago. Grishchuk is a former World Blitz champion, and Magnus has won the World Blitz Championship so many times in a row, I actually did lose count. And Lagno, yeah, sorry. I'm actually, because TV2 is doing a broadcast of the Blitz tournament, and TV2 only broadcasts the tournaments Magnus plays in. So you are absolutely correct. When I just, in my head, I'm so into the whole Magnus part of the event, I forgot to mention that there will also be a women's section, including Lagno. Yeah, see, I don't even remember who was in the women's section. I'm afraid I saw Sarah was on the advertisement, so she's probably in. Do I need to be premium to challenge you? Yes, I'm only playing against premium members. Young. Oh, it's my turn. So I think rook e1 is what you're supposed to do here. And if you go knight h6, then I go c3 and d4. If you go knight f6, I go immediately attacking that knight, chasing it around the board. And if e5, actually we had someone playing this e5 move earlier. And I just did this c3, d4, and won pretty easily. But I find this c3 move to be pretty anti-intuitive. Because normally when you've given your opponent the bishop pair, you don't want to open up the position, creating open diagonals for the opponent's bishops and such. But in this specific case, you open up so that you can easier attack some of the weaknesses in black's position, namely the pawn on c6 and the pawn on d6. So these two pawns become big weaknesses. Also here I have the amazing square on c5. I want to put a knight on at some point. Normally I was thinking I would go with my knight over here, but he actually has some problems defending this guy on f7. Because if rook f8, I can take this pawn. So the only way to defend this pawn is to move the king to e8, and then I can chase the bishop back. You would think with so many things opening up around the world, chess would be back to normal soon. Yeah, Thulu, I don't know. It becomes a very difficult thing to predict. Um, for instance, in Norway, there is still no international travel. So I'm traveling domestically to do my commentary gigs, but there's no international travel. So even though a lot of like hairdressers and such are opening up in Norway, there's there's still a fairly long road to go for full normalcy. You wouldn't be even slightly surprised if we get a second lockdown. Yeah, Shaved, I think this is what a lot of people have been saying that um, people are going to ease off a little bit and then it's going to be bad again after. The whole point, as I understood it, with flattening the curve was just postponing the crisis as long as possible until you were like more properly prepared for the situation. Can you guys hear what my neighbors are doing? Or that they're doing something? Because they're making a lot of strange noises right now. The best thing that happened to you today is seeing me. Wow, Joe. You know all the right things to say, huh? Lengthen it and spread it out. Yeah, that's how I understood it, QED. Lockdown insanity? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like for some period of time, I couldn't even hear my neighbors, which is pretty unusual. But they're definitely back. I've been hearing quite a bit of their activities lately. But now apparently they have gotten a piano of some sort. Thought you had moved? I have moved, Bateman. But it turns out no matter where you move, there's always going to be annoying kids with music nearby. Or in my case, in the floor below. Piano, thanks, neighbors. Yeah. It's, I like the piano, but maybe not when the neighbors are playing it while I'm streaming. Advertus, I don't know if you know, but I'm pretty sure MC Hammer he went bankrupt and someone bought the rights to all of his songs and stuff. And they're very eager to make back their money by suing everyone who infringes on their copyright. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard rumors, and I would never, ever dare even utter the words Hammertime in fear of legal repercussions. Elementary school opened up from today. Ah, that's good, Shadved. Actually, elementary school opened up in Norway already a couple of days ago, like half a week ago, maybe a full week even. Today they opened up for, well, yeah, no, today. Today in Norway they opened up for middle school and high school kids. I forget what you're supposed to do here, but you play H6 and Rookie 8 and in some order. It's got to be tough getting good at playing an instrument without annoying lots of people. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, Dodgy, I know you're trying to troll, but your game is very weak at the moment. It very clearly states the past tense version of the verb. Okay, MX Stowe has learned this idea of d5 and then e5 as a pawn sacrifice. Let's see if this is one of the situations where it's a good idea. Not going to do that because bishop takes e4 is being threatened. Needed to get my queen out of this rook's file. Thanks for the game, Jean-C. Bye. Marius gifting a sub to Moobot. Marius. Imagine all the poor viewers. I didn't mean poor. I meant... Oh, man. Oh, man. Misphrasing is so easy to do. Imagine the eager non-subbed viewers who would have loved to feel that generosity. And instead you gave it to Moobot. Rephrased it, no problem. Easy. Your subgif says Hammertime. Yeah, it's fine as long as you don't sing it. You can say it, Joe, but you can never sing it. So I can say, oh, it's Hammertime. But I cannot say, oh, it's Hammertime. You know? That would be dangerous. Do you like MC Hammer? Honestly, I only really discovered MC Hammer because every old person, when I was a kid, every old person would say, "Oh, it's Hammer Time," and I would not understand the reference. So at some point, I made the decision to figure out why everyone was saying it's Hammer Time and be thinking it was the most funny thing they ever said. Especially, there's this website called chessgames.com. So I would see there people saying it's Hammer Time, and I did not understand why it was so funny. But then YouTube came along, and so I got to listen to the song and to the dance, and after which I kind of felt like they really undersold the whole dancing part of the thing. I mean, it's not the Hammer Time. The Hammer Time part is not the big draw, I suspect. I think it's about the pants. Have you ever seconded Magnus? Yes. I worked with Magnus for his first 2 World Championship matches, Austin. MX Toe found out that this pawn sacrifice against the Semi-Tarrasch is not always good. But yeah, if you're going to do it, probably you should put your knight on d4. Because knight d2 just invites trades. And frankly, even here, even if I just give you this knight, there's no way you're better in this situation. The whole idea of this pawn sacrifice is to put this knight to the f5 square. So, giving up the pawn and then asking to trade knights is just nonsensical. I don't even understand what reference you're making, Marius. Oh man, did I just get the hiccups? I'm concerned. Which games other than chess do you like to play with Magnus? We've played a bit of Avalon, the Resistance. This is actually, it became hugely popular in the top chess tournament scene. So Magnus, I believe, started it together with Peter Heine and some other people. I remember playing Avalon with Heine, Magnus, Svidler's wife, um, Levon, um, and some other people in Stavanger. But at some point, Magnus stopped participating in those game nights after the round, you know? After the round in the evenings, people would gather in the whole hotel lobby and play Avalon. But Magnus quit doing it after a couple of years. But I then heard that now MVL and Fabiano are the main initiators of Avalon Night during top tournaments. Okay, this man is not here. He got his chance. He spoiled it. Cluex, I miss your messages. But yeah, there have been a lot of people who think that making me entertained is the most ungrateful and difficult task there is. So you're not alone. Chess Weeb coming in with a rate of 78. How is everyone doing? I'm just playing some Blitz on Chess24. If you're a Chess24 premium member and you wanna play, feel free to challenge me. There's instructions in Twitch chat right now. I have decided to play games with increments 3+2 because everyone in my chat was flagging me and I got sick of it. For some reason, I'm forgetting how to play this opening. Okay, I'm starting to recall how to play this opening. Ulan gifts a sub to Chessweeb. Thank you so much, Ulan. That explains MVL's username on Elite Chess. What is his username on Elite Chess, Drunken Soul? Pretty sure we first put the knight down here, and then we put the bishop here. No, wait, h3, then you have to play h4, because otherwise g4. Avalon. Is that French for Avalon? But yeah, I guess it has some resemblance with the game. It's let's assume that there's a connection, Drunken Soul. Do you like to play good or evil in Avalon? Ooh, good question, Midnight Fox. What just happened here? Wow, should I be scared right now? I'm a bit scared. This man just gave up everything to attack my king. I'm pretty scared. Oh man. This is not the kind of thing you want to be defending in a blitz game, to be honest. It's too complicated. Wow, he really did just sacrifice. I'm very nervous. I guess we're just going to take this pawn. Because then his bishop no longer has access to my king side. And then we're just going to pray. This is very scary. Okay, he let me trap his rook. I don't think that was the best idea he's had this game. Oh yeah, so do I like to play good or evil? I think I like to play one of the good guys. But yeah, being Merlin is ridiculously difficult. Because you don't want to give away to the evil side. Yeah, this suddenly became very specific. For people who don't know Avalon, this is going to be difficult to follow. Okay, this man is a genius. Wow, Queen D2, huh? I was going to say he just gave away a rook, but yeah, could he have done that earlier? I should have gone knight g6. I should have gone knight g6. I was just not paying attention. I just thought free rook. Should have gone knight g6. Now I think I'm dead. I don't see a defense. Okay. What are you going to do? Too slow? I don't think too slow was my problem there. It was a very tricky position, Marius. Oh, it's Avalon Game Master? Really, Drunken Soul? That would explain his Licha's username then. I'm actually going to have to take a break in this nice board game discussion. Because I got to figure out what on earth happened here. Because I got destroyed. I feel like this is just one of those cases where you play a very complicated opening and the opponent plays a very critical line where you need to remember what you're supposed to do, and I have no idea what I was supposed to do. But this king b1 move, I don't understand. It feels very slow. Feels very slow. So what happens if I go knight g6? Takes. King f8. Looks winning, no? Was bishop e4 a defense? No. Knight h7? No, I don't think that worked. When are you getting your spot as the second best Norwegian chess player back? Well, Ravior, not anytime soon the way I'm playing. And not anytime soon given that there's no chess tournaments. But it'll come. I don't know. To me, this looks winning. Just get the king towards my own pieces. Because when I put my king in the corner, I really should have spent some time thinking. But after queen d2, there's just no preventing this queen h6 move. So bishop e4, then there's checkmate. Knight h7. There's the checkmate on g7, but if I stop that one, there's a checkmate on h8. There's too many checkmates. Is this some strange Karakana line? Well, it's not supposed to be strange, Marius. It's supposed to be high fashion, but clearly not the way I played it, huh? You've heard Magnus is very competitive in all sports, like football and swimming. Wow, I have never seen Magnus be competitive in swimming, I must admit. But I have played him in soccer quite a few times, and we are both very competitive. Oh my god, you should have seen us. There was this interesting show where some retired Norwegian alpine skiers, shoes in Åmot, they were challenging different kind of sports celebrities in Norway for like a game show ish TV program, and they had a program with Magnus and myself, and they joined us for a soccer session with the chess peeps. And like they were very surprised how ruthless I think we were. And they were like, oh, at some point, I think they decided they're not going to substitute until someone says, okay, I'll go off. And Magnus and I, we were on different teams during the soccer, but like no one went off. No one voluntarily quit the play. I did not do a good job conveying that story. But bottom line, Magnus and myself were very competitive. I think sports people in general are very competitive no matter what it's about. Sport is a misnomer of sorts, because there are categories like chess and esports and stuff like that, which is not physically daunting but still has that competitive element. And sports, it's not, in my mind, it's not primarily about the physicality, it's about the competition. And yeah, and that explains also why chess players are extremely competitive, because it's just part of what we do. It's one of the attributes that has made us good at the game. To be fair, Bateman, he was pushed into that pool, but actually he was thrown. Undoubtedly, Magnus can swim. I mean, Shadved, actually, you would be surprised. There are some people who learn to swim at a very late age, and some maybe never. But in this particular circumstance example I'm gonna give you, I actually only learned to swim when I was like 13 or 14. I was really into diving and like being in pools and diving after stuff, but I could not swim. Weren't you talking last stream about how 92 is pretty clever in these lines? Yes, I was. Oh, me pant. Yeah, I was pants. But it's not the end of the world for black. I am an expert in this line, regardless of color. Also, someone played this in the Nations Cup League thingy. So people still have some faith in this for black. You really need some art on your wall. I will note your feedback. What kind of art are you thinking about, ClueX? And is these the kind of comments you've been coming with and then have the audacity to complain about me missing your comments. Frankly, I'm starting to think you're gonna have to up your comments level. The lack of art on the walls. Yeah. This is the Berlin of the Queen's Gambit declined. Yes, Marius. After Kramnik lost in this line to Carlsen, he went back to work and rehabilitated it. Yeah. It was never in that bad shape, though, I think. You made a really cool chess.com video about this? Yes, that's true, Semislav. I made a nice video about this opening. But to be fair, I did work with chess.com at the time I made that video. I'm gonna capture something. I thought he was gonna be afraid to take that one because of bishop takes b1. But I don't really want to play bishop takes b1 if I can avoid it. But I probably cannot avoid it. Probably have to do that. Yeah. Okay, let's see what happens. I feel like there's going to be some kind of knight takes, I don't know. Bishop takes, okay. Probably just going to go home with this guy. And then capture that guy. Most GMs have been showcasing art behind them. No way. I'm calling bullshit on that statement, Bateman. No way have most GMs been showcasing art. Just no. And also that was a blunder. I don't believe you. Magnus having art sounds unlikely. Hikaru has a pretty nice background because it's so colorful. But I'm not sure he has any art. I guess he has that picture of a bus or something. Well, no, Botes has the picture of the bus. Maybe Hikaru has it too. Am I confusing something? Van Valley Nils has art. Wow. They're such cultured people. How would you feel if I bought a poster with a big, I don't know, my face? I don't know. In general, I like the idea of posters. My sister, when we were kids, she had this poster of some kind of, I probably like New York skyline or something. It's pretty nice. Can have the poster of the Norway gnomes. Gusti is showcasing the Chess 24 backdrop. Yeah. That's not art. I think we can all agree, Marius. Hikaru has a nice Japanese temple. Okay, apparently I don't watch enough Hikaru. Should I get a nice Japanese temple as well? Not a poster, okay. Yeah, good game, Boundaries. We'll get another chance. I'm streaming on Wednesday as well. Remy, you learned to swim at 9? Well, that's still much better than me. I had this horrifying swimming experience because it was a birthday party for a classmate of mine, and they had the birthday party at like the spa resort of his mom's job. So basically, they had some kind of recreational spa ish thing at her work, and so we had a swimming birthday. So I was there without my parents, without the ability to swim, and um, without the parents actually knowing that I couldn't swim. I think. A giant poster of yourself is perhaps a bit much. Okay, that's a controversial opinion, Marius, but I'll keep it under advisement. Giant Magnus poster is a big no, Mr. Dodgy. I have enough of Magnus in my nightmares. I don't need him to be in my on my walls as well. Did you know yourself? I was aware that I could not swim, yes. But when there was some kind of swimming contest, I I I jumped into it. And frankly, that birthday was the first day I swam in my life. Um, and you know, it worked because there's nothing more effective than desperate times. Speaking of desperate times and learning, my family lived in the U.S. for a year when I was 9, and I went to a U.S. public school without knowing how to speak English. I knew that I should say yes, please, and no, thank you, and that's about it. I had had 1 year of English in the Norwegian school system before we went, and I was speaking English with everyone else in like 4 months because there was no choice. Do or die, literally. Yeah. Well, more literally when it comes to the swimming than the English speaking, but same principle applies. Giant picture of Mjolnir. Honestly, that's pretty good, Pants. Send me a link with some nice prints, some nice artistic interpretations of Mjolnir. I will buy the poster. That's not it. That move is not it. So this is the hammer repertoire. Look at this. I'm crushing in an opening. I don't really know. Everyone, if you're a Chess 24 premium member, do check out my video series. I offer an opening repertoire complete, covering all the options for both white and black. And this is my white recommendations against the open Spanish variation. And clearly it's working out because I have just captured a pawn and I'm also threatening to take this knight. Ooh, that's a dangerous move. The queen protecting the knight. But if I can chase this queen away, the knight will be dead. Actually, I don't see how I can chase the queen. I'm considering just developing. I'm a pawn up. I don't need to do anything fancy. I can just get my pieces into play. Hey Dukas, how are you doing? You don't cover the peace sacrifice proposed by Romain Edouard? Henry, I'm pretty sure that peace sacrifice is a different move order than what I recommend. You're talking about the Johann Sebastian Christensen peace sacrifice, right? Because I mean, there's the Norwegian kids are playing it, so I feel pretty confident I would know of its existence at the very least. Mm. Yeah, that's strange, Henry. I thought I covered it. Take, take, take. Sometimes there's just things that has to be good. You shouldn't spend too much of your life wondering whether it's good or not. You just gotta trust that logic will prevail. What's the PSAC? It's nothing to be scared of. If there's any justice in the world, knight takes b5 is good. Yeah, Marius, I suspect we will find that there is justice in the world. Ooh, I did not see queen a4 though. Oh man, there's a massive lack of justice right now. Mm, we're probably okay. We can give a check. No, I'm not liking this. Oh man, somehow I just ended up trading all the queenside pawns. And this is not advantageous for me because the knight on e6 is actually really strong. If I give a check now, he can just go king d7. So I gotta do this. Gotta get some space on the king side, make sure that my king has an escape square. I'm probably gonna grab more space on the king side and then give it a check. I think h6 was actually a mistake. It's a pretty automatic move you make in such situations, but here I feel like white has some real potential for going after the pawn on g7. If you didn't play without increments, you would at least have decent flagging opportunities. Well, I still have decent flagging opportunities, to be fair. I also still have a pawn up, so it's not like there's a crisis mode. It's just that I didn't win as quickly as I would have liked to. What happened to the piano background music? Let's not question it, Marius. Don't question good things. Just to let them happen. Did not expect him to go in that direction. That's fine. New queen. That's also fine. You got disconnected, dude height. That's too bad. Yeah, we can do the game. You're gonna start a movement, get Hammer a poster or picture or art on his wall. Well, if it's so important, ClueX, why can't you just do what I asked you to do and find me just a link where I can click purchase and then it's shipped to me in the mail? I don't feel like you're taking your responsibilities seriously. If you're just interested in protesting. You're not being a part of the solution right now. I don't know why I'm yawning. This is concerning. Reminder to everyone that we're accepting 3+2 games challenges. So make sure that your challenges are 3+2 time control. Because otherwise I may ignore you even though you're first in the line. Webster, I'm playing everyone in the order in which I get the challenges. So as long as you challenge, we'll get round to you. E6, the best move. Oh, Henry, is this your opening? Since you were talking about the Edouard French recommendations earlier. The Scream would be a decent painting for your wall. No, that's not my favorite, Jake. I like the one with the fjord. And I also like the one with the mountain. And the funny thing is, this is how the Norwegian education system works. When I say the one with the fjord and the one with the mountain, every Norwegian in chat actually knows which painting I'm referring to. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but like everyone in Norway is brought up with the same school books and the same art in those school books. So freakily, um, this is the thing. Rook e1 is strange. You're supposed to go knight b3. And I'm trying to determine whether delaying knight b3 has any advantages. I'm probably just gonna get the knight. No, Martin, I'm not talking about the Scream. I know the Scream is international. I'm saying that when I say I like the one with the mountain and the one with the fjord, I'm saying Norwegians know which painting I'm talking about with just those keywords. The girl with the funny smile? Actually, I don't know that one, Marius. But you know which painting is I'm talking about, right? What are the names of those paintings? Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's partly why I wanted chat in here to understand the references because I don't remember the one with the mountain is night over Rondane or something like that, or moon over Rondane or Rondane, maybe just that. Um, and then the one with the fjord is, I know the painters are Gude and Tiedemann, and it's probably called something like um, Marriage on the Fjord. No, Marriage Reception on the Fjord. I don't know. I even just translating it is really difficult. So maybe I would know the Norwegian names. Okay, I have to calculate. Castles, knight takes e6. Queen takes queen. He takes queen back. I take bishop. He takes rook. I go back with bishop. He goes down with rook. That feels very scary. That makes me scared. So let me just move this guy instead. You thought I meant the monk painting with the fjord? Oh, really, Marius? I'm disappointed in you. I'm not even disappointed in myself. Brüderfein, right. Yes, Martin. Well done. Marius, not well done. Various pictures of the Northern Lights. Do you know, Duratus? I have never seen the Northern Lights in Norway. I've only seen it once in my life, and then that was in Reykjavik. Oof, poor guy. This man has blundered the bishop pair. What a mistake. That's just game over right there. Get a poster of Brüderfeiden i Hardanger? Really, Marius? You think that's the good stuff? Okay, this got complicated. Takes, takes. Bishop back. Takes, 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 takes. Takes, takes. Bishop back. Knight back. Actually, the threat against this pawn is somewhat serious. Somewhat. And I'm getting very low on time. Yeah, I'm concerned about this pawn's safety. Let's try this one, because I just realized I have this move. That was a big realization. Bishop takes d4. If queen takes back, then I take his bishop. If he does something stupid, then he's gonna lose. Well, I'm just taking all of his pieces at this point. I'm gonna take that one, and then I'm gonna take that one. And when we start counting the pieces, it's not a good sight for white. Must go even more to the north. Well, honestly, Remy, Reykjavik is not very far north. As I understand it, Reykjavik is pretty far south. It's like, I don't know. I have someone told me that Reykjavik is like Bergen, which is, not far north at all. It's just that Reykjavik is so sparsely populated. No. Does that have anything to do with anything? Is there less northern lights in like polluted areas or crowded areas? I don't know. But yeah, seeing it in Oslo is. I'm sure it's there. It's just that my apartment has a view of the one of the biggest hotels in Oslo, and that's about it. We live a bit more crowded, a bit more difficult to like spot nature's wonders as they happen. Have you ever been in some place in Norway where it's 24 hours dark? Um, I mean, I have, but it's Tromsø is the kind of place where you would rather go in the summer when there's 24 hours of sunlight rather than in the winter when there's no sun whatsoever. But I have been to Tromsø, I think once or twice during the winter. The thing is, the darkness is not so bad because of the snow. So the snow will make it feel a bit lighter, and it will also reflect something or something. So the worst thing is having a ton of darkness and no snow, which is basically what we had in Oslo this winter. We had no snow, but it's still depressingly dark all the time. Um, and that's, as I understand it, even worse than at least having the snow around. Yeah, no, Drunken Soul, you don't have to. Even in Oslo during the summer, we have such nice long summer nights. But Tromsø is even worse, if you can say sunlight is a bad thing. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a little break and check out Marius's taste in fine arts. Wow, that's interesting. Who's the artist, Marius? Oh, it's Monk. No, I've never seen this one before, but I agree, it's very interesting. As kids in the Norwegian school system, we do have to go to the Munch Museum at least twice during our first 10 years of schooling, but I've never seen this one. And Dodgy confirms that light pollution does make it more difficult to see the northern lights, which explains why I had to go to Reykjavik to see it. Reykjavik is further north than Trondheim? Okay, my mistake, Jake. For some reason, I thought Iceland is pretty far south. Okay, I think it's fair to say that we should move on. Next up is Webster. Sure, Castellan. Just re-challenge. Too much information? Wow, bait man. Americans are so sensitive. Imagine in the US, they thought the toilet was too much information, so they had to call it the bathroom instead, even among friends. Are you going to the toilet? No, I'm going to the. No, not bathroom. No, even bathroom is too much for Americans. You have to say you're going to the restroom. Yes, I'm just resting a little bit. Going to the restroom. Because bathroom and toilet. Ooh, that's too much information. I'm just calling what I learned, Steve Eyes. I'm I'm sorry if have been miseducated, but I was taught that in the US you should say restroom instead of toilet. And also, to be fair, all your signs say restroom. So whether or not you say it or not, your signage reveals your true colors. Your year in the US at age 9 made a big impression. Yeah, I saw the volcano, Crunchy. It was good times. But yeah, I also have been to the US other times. That was not my only trip. You know what? We're actually gonna trade queens because I like that. Steve Eyes, I was in Berkeley. Looks like there will be Norway Chess Classic in October. That was what was announced, at least. Chess fan. They announced that they had postponed their tournament until October. I haven't heard any new information since. My dad was Thulu. UC Berkeley. Economics. Really dodgy? Oh man. But honestly, that's something you say in the UK, no? I mean, it's not completely nonsensical. Or is that something Americans say on occasion? That's a good one, Virtus. Okay, so Webster has given up a rook in exchange for a knight, which normally isn't the best of trades. But annoyingly, I'm struggling to get my rooks into play because there's always this move knight. Knight to c3. So what are we gonna do? Oh, of course. Duh. I was wondering, how do I get rid of this bishop not doing anything? Of course, I can just move the pawn, and then once the knight takes the pawn, then I get rid of my bishop, and then I rule the board with my rooks. Yeah, there's a threat against this pawn, and I'm probably going to say that I don't care. I'm probably just going to move all my pieces into attacking positions. And at this point, I'm starting to fear that I might be giving away too much of the good stuff. Okay, but this seems very logical. Hey, Kuroko, how are you doing? Pretty cool to have a wild card playing against the top 10. Yeah, Steve Eyes. If only they had done the same thing when I had 2700. There's some salt. For sure. You know what? I don't even care about this pawn. Let's attack. Let's get this guy involved. Who's the wild card? Aryan. Jake. So it would seem my checkmating plan has failed me. And somehow this rook on f6 is defending everything. He actually could have gone b5 there, and his rook would have just defended all of his weak spots. That would have been tremendously annoying. And also allowing knight e5 was ridiculously unnecessary. Yeah, it's not been my finest hour just now. But I'm going to play f3 and then we're going to be fine-ish. Actually, we're not fine-ish. We're not okay at all. This is starting to become very scary, actually. Wow. How did this happen? How am I teetering on the brink of defeat? Where did all the stuff go? Ooh, that was, you're gonna regret that move, aren't you? Ooh, my king, the hero of the game, 2.7 seconds, lost like every single pawn I had. But now we're talking. It's just checkmate. There's no way to stop it. King coming into h6, there's just no way of stopping it. And had he not played h5, he would have had like the rook coming back and giving checks. But after h5, there's just no way to stop my king from infiltrating. I made a mistake, but it's fine. I had checkmate in one move. But I'm going to have checkmate next move too, so it's fine. Ooh, almost a good comeback there from Webster. But the white king getting in there just in time for the checkmate. So I couldn't take this pawn on f7 because then check and he takes my rook. And going up with the king here was not really advisable because then the rook is going to come here and give some sort of a checkmate. So I needed to get the rook out of the way, and when he played h5, that was a huge mistake. And after king g5, I think it's actually winning for white. Incredible stuff. Anna, I can download Brüderfeiden. Wow, it's in the common domain. Yeah, but you still probably would want it on a poster, right? How good is the resolution of that link you're giving me, Anna? My dad must be a smart guy because he's a professor of economics. I can assure you he's not as smart as you would think a professor of economics is. Hi, hey, Kleinmeister. 3 plus 2 we're doing today. But he has an insane amount of trivia knowledge, which just baffles me. Ooh, it's 7,000 times 5,000 pixels. Wow, I could probably get this printed for like 20 kroners. That's actually pretty cool. Thank you so much, Anna. See, She's proactive, ClueX. She just gives me the link and now we have some art for the background. Did you just assume we professors of economics are super smart? Thank you, Anna. Wow, Marius. Are you a professor of economics? I think I would know if you were, no? Oh, we believe. Yeah, read again. Thank you, Marius. Reading skills, not 100%. Reading is tricky, Marius. I don't know what to say. Did I get move ordered or something? I don't know. I feel like someone said, no, I changed my mind. I'm not going to allow e5. Okay, so somehow we ended up in the main line of the Dutch with a very strange move order. Wow, knight c6. What a guy. I guess we're going to take the challenge. This is one of those openings where you better remember what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, things may turn out very poorly. I remember like this part of it. E4? I don't think you're supposed to go e4. But yeah, he probably knows better than me. I guess we're gonna push. I feel like black has to go e6 at some point. Okay, he did go e6 at some point. Maybe my position is not all that. Maybe in fact my position is just bad. This line is supposed to be bad for black, but if you don't know what you're doing with the white pieces, it might become a problem for you. Hey Utrecht, how did you enjoy the old podcast? Did I say anything interesting? Thought the Dutch was more bad than usual when white hasn't committed to d4. I think that's true for the Stonewall Thulu, but not these Dutches, because then achieving e5 for black is normally a good thing. Yeah, I don't really like my position. And I don't fully understand what I'm supposed to do here. I guess I just have to take this pawn on b7. Polson? Well, check out my video series. Ustan. I have recommendations against the Polson in my video series for white. What was wrong with taking on e6? Well, then he goes queen e7, takes, then queen e7, and he gets the pawn back pretty easily. So I would rather get my pieces in good positions than allow him to kind of parry the immediate threats. So this is kind of what I was expecting to happen. Can I go bishop g5? Bishop g5 takes. Best case, I'm cool. worst case, I'm just lost. So we're gonna take this one. Eddie, thank you so much for the 8 months. The most worthy payment you have every month. Thank you so much for the support, Eddie. You're dying in the Italian? Cairo Hulk, are you using the hammer rep and you're still losing? If there's a specific line or issue you have repeatedly, make a question in the video series comments, and I usually respond to those within a day. Yeah, so this bishop is pretty dead, but I think resurrecting it is an exercise in futility. So we're not going to do that. Actually, we're going to do this. How fancy am I? Adro coming in with this 17-month resub. Thank you so much, Adro. So he wants to go a4. Yeah, I don't really know. I guess I'm doing... I don't know what I want to do. Do you think there's a specific... It was too long of a comment, Marius. I don't have enough time on my clock to read your comment. Feels bad. I don't know. I feel like we're doing something here. That was scary. Okay, I feel like we're no longer doing something here. I wanted to take the pawn on c7, but I chickened out at the last minute. Big chicken out there. Oh, this is not good. My position is dying. Man, my position is very dying. It's dying very much. Okay, there's still some complications for him. Check. 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 No, that's not a check. But I got a new queen, so I'm pretty happy. See, this is what I'm talking about, people. This is why we want the increments. We need that little extra hope of getting out of a tough position when we're low on time. Thank you so much for the resubs, Adro and Eddie. Oh, that feels good. That feels good. I think rook d1 was a big mistake. because I was able to start giving checks. But to be fair, I had not seen bishop d7. So king g2 was also super important. I guess probably black is still winning here somehow. I don't know. It feels like if I manage to get my pieces into play, I mean, both kings are so vulnerable that it's not really a matter of who has a rook and who has a bishop. That was great. Thank you, Svorps. Not enough games on increments on this site. Um, yeah, I don't really know Thulu. I don't use the pool. What was wrong with taking on e6? Yeah, you asked that, right. Didn't even promote with check. Terrible. Did I have the opportunity though, Dodgy? I don't think I did. I was planning to do this. I just panicked. I couldn't see a response. No, because this is what I had planned. So queen f7, then I was planning to do this, which is actually not winning for white, but it's interesting at least. But queen e7. Queen e7, and then defending this bishop becomes problematic. So yeah. No, I was probably right not to take that one, but the stuff that happened was pretty scary as well. Legendary finish. Thank you, Bateman. Dukas, what did you blunder? c7? Oh yeah, you didn't see that I could take, yeah, the check and the pawn. But even then it wasn't so clear. But I guess when you miss a move like that and it creates trouble for you, it's very common to follow it up with a mistake. Because you kind of, it's not that you lose focus, but you kind of lose, you feel like the position got away from you. Even if the position is still good, you just remember that the position earlier was so much more easier to handle. It's a mild version of tilt. Yeah, I should have. Yeah, precisely. Duke is. Should have gone queen f6. And then who knows what is going to happen. It's just very complicated. c6 maybe? Yeah, no. Queen f6 would have been a good move. But here, I would think it's lost, but I couldn't see the checkmate. Actually, maybe this is checkmate. Check. Check. I don't know. Somehow the queen and bishop coordinate really strangely. So here getting the bishop in this diagonal would be checkmate, but you can't really make it happen. Just feels like there should be a fairly easy checkmate here on that king. Check. I just took that pawn. It's pretty solid play. And then he tried to run away, which was probably a mistake because he had to go back anyway. And then, yeah, this pawn on c5 was so important because it gave me the option of putting this queen on the d6 square. And to win this, it was very important for me to have the queen controlling the dark squares and the bishop taking over the light squares. So yeah, this pawn on c5 had a decisive role. Are there any lines you can take on g3? I don't want to spend time doing that. I think what I did was okay. Because I mean, he had to go up because otherwise this kind of thing is still just having two passed pawns like this, I'm always going to win, even if we trade queens. But yeah, I managed to force off the queen exchange, which made it easy. That was a nice finish. Very stressful. Stressful, but nice. Must be winning? Yeah, I think so, Marius. But with 2 seconds left, it's always going to be slightly tricky. Thank you, Jackson. Plenty of time. Yeah, that's what I tried to say, Marius. I can play decent chess. 2 seconds per move. Dutch did well though. Yeah, Dutch did okay. The Dutch did okay. I guess I'm doing this. A6. I feel like I covered this. That with A6, A4 included, I should, after knight C6, go D5 and then A5. Okay, but now it's just becoming a hippopotamus. Hippopotamuses can be a bit tricky to play. But basically what you need to know playing against it is that the only pawn breaks black really is going for is either f5 or c5. And if he goes c5, you should go d5. And yes, that opens up the diagonal for this bishop, but it kills the diagonal for this bishop. And that's the main thing you need to know about the hippopotamus. Not to be confused with the hippopotamus. Because there was a period of time after I had been introduced to Flight of the Conchords where I repeatedly said hippopotamus instead of hippopotamus, which was kind of funny. That seems like a very bad move. I have taken the bishop pair and black is going down. If they go f5, you go e5, Utrecht. And then the same applies, just the opposite symmetry. I'm pretty sure we're very happy here. I'm actually considering giving up my bishop. I have this idea that his light squares are so bad that giving up the bishops can be interesting. But we're not going to do that. So we're going to allow him to play a5 and put the knight on b4. But essentially what you claim in these structures is that, you know, the knight on b4 is just out of play. Let's do this move. And if they never break in the center, then you just do incremental improvements, Marius. Normally you maneuver your knight from c3 over to g3 and you play c3. And then when you play c3, you already kind of block the bishop and its future. Takes. Let me try this move. I should have done that. I don't know why I allowed b5. That was silly. Silly. But I mean, our development is so good. We have the bishop pair. Everything is good. Wow, he's even allowing us to get a passed pawn. But maybe I don't care. No, actually, if I take, he might even take this one. Somehow this became more interesting than I thought it should be. Okay, we're gonna try to take this one. His knight is lacking good squares. Wow, somehow I allowed black to get out of this alive. I definitely did something very wrong. No way black should have been allowed to have this nice of a position. Well, you shouldn't be freaking out, Marius. Not a good strategy. So here we are, without a plan. But we have the bishop pair. So that's the plan. We don't need any plan beyond having the bishop pair. I can't tell whether I'm outplaying the guy or if he's outplaying me. I'm really not sure. It's a tricky position. I'm pretty sure my bishops are gonna come out of this pretty nicely. Ooh, look at that guy! Ooh, look at that guy! Exemplar. Ah. Good play. I gotta stick to words I can pronounce. Good play by Hammer. Look at that knight. Look at that bishop. We got what we wanted. Does Magnus have a driver's license? No, he does not. Neither do I, but I'm guessing you don't care about my life. I'm just a means to an end. I was talking to Magnus's sister's boyfriend about whether we should try to get a boating certification together. And I think maybe Magnus's sister was considering joining us. That's a free night, thank you. Because I really imagine I'm gonna own a boat before I own a car. That's how I see my life trajectory. You know, normal people's lives are like this, you know? Or yeah, I should do it so that you can see. This is normal people. Slightly upwards. It's a nice life and it gets nicer the older you get, because you get life experience and you have a work life and you have work balance maybe, and you have disposable income, no more student loans, stuff like that. But my life trajectory, I'm planning on this. I'm planning on chess player, chess commentator, boat owner right here. And I'm just gonna cruise the Norwegian fjords. I'm gonna live the good life. You're glad that boat owner is above chess commentator? Well, do you think it shouldn't, Gelfeld? Because the boats I looked up are they're definitely above chess commentator. I there was a period of time I was looking up some pretty fancy boats. With your life trajectory, you better buy a rocket or a parachute. Frankly, Duertes might be an even better investment. The evolution of a Viking chess player to boater. Yeah, it's in our blood, Crunchy. At the end, we end up in the sea. I'm not sure owning a boat will earn you as much money as you seem to think. I'm not saying I'm gonna earn money having a boat. I'm just saying it's the final piece of the puzzle. Once you have earned money, then the prize is the boat, Marius. You're planning on your life taking the opposite trajectory of your rating in the past years. Number one, get timed out. We're not gonna accept that kind of talk. Clearly trying to agitate the streamer by talks of rating and such. We will not have it. And number two, yes. This endgame is very raunchy for black. Yeah, please don't use words I do not know, but thankfully our R2 came back with an explanation. Not good. Yes, I agree. It was a not good endgame for black, which is not obvious at first. Because when you go into this at this point, you could think that having the knight on d5 is amazing for black. This is actually a really good evaluation exercise, especially if I actually am better though. Yeah, I'm not going to check the computer, but my idea here was that I was better. Despite black seemingly having the perfect positioning of the knight, um, but I was thinking that I have the c file to do stuff with my rook, and I have the bishop pair. And I feel like the way I played was very instructive. H4 I liked. Trying to create a weakness on black's king side. And knight h4 also interesting because it's putting pressure on this g6 pawn. And if the pawn moves, then I get this square on f5. And next move, I was going to go bishop d3. But I feel like what black needed to do is he needed to go knight e7 or something at some point. Because black's main problem is that the rook is unable to get into the position because the knight is blocking. And if the knight moves, then, bad things will happen on the light squares. So black really needed to reorganize the pieces. And I think the way to do it would have been to play knight e7 or something like this. Actually, here this is not good because it takes. And if like knight c8, then suddenly your king is in trouble. But yeah, somehow black kind of needed maybe knight d7 here, attacking this pawn. And when I defend it, you go with the other knight to f6. Because somehow you just need to open up. Yeah, but this is not good either, because then this guy becomes a weakness. And you don't get your king into the game. I don't know, it's a really interesting position. Difficult to play for both players. And also notice how this pawn on d4 is doing a great job restricting the activity of black's bishop. So black's bishop, while it's seemingly good attacking the pawn on d4, is actually pretty trash because my knight is easily defending the pawn on d4, and the bishop just has no real future. And so that's also why Karamoko chose to play bishop f8, because the bishop wasn't really doing anything anyway. And yeah, but of course g5 presumably is a mistake, because once I get the knight on f5, it's such a dominating piece. Are there any chess tournaments on a boat, like a cruiser? Yes, Virtus. At least there has been in the past. In the past, they organized a chess tournament on the boat from Oslo to Copenhagen every year. Or maybe it was, I don't remember whether it was Copenhagen or someplace else. I think it was the boat from Oslo to Copenhagen. And they have also organized tournaments on a train in the Czech Republic. Hey Meg, how are you doing? Did they have a senior championship on a cruise ship? I I must admit I'm not super into the inner workings of the senior chess scene. Did you really call Magnus a win quitter? I don't think I did, Meg. I think what Magnus said is that I called myself a loose quitter, and that a loose quitter could be just as annoying, if not more annoying, than a win quitter. Yeah, but yeah, rook c8 was just, he was getting desperate about getting the rook into play. But that's just game over because I get the pawn, and my light square, my bishop on the light square is just a monster. He has no way of moving any of his pieces. His bishop cannot move, his knight cannot move, and I'm just getting my king involved. Oh wow, Marius has recommendations on boats. Marius, may I have your boating credentials to evaluate whether this is the boat for me? I don't know, it's a pretty cool looking boat, Marius, but I feel like it doesn't have the right amount of sun deck. I feel like you need to have a boat that's big enough for you to have like some friends come with you, because that's really the key point to my master plan, is that if I have a boat, my friends are suddenly gonna love me, and they're gonna want to hang out all the time on my boat on the fjord. I don't know. I only know that there's this term, a cabin cruiser. And I think I want one of those. A cabin cruiser. Oh, this boat is $600,000. I don't know. I feel like this is a bit of too small of a boat for 600,000, Marius. Wow, Marius sailed competitively. What we find in Twitch chat. The weirdest things. Uh, Srosp. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but unfortunately, I'm only playing premium members today. But if you do want to get a premium Chess24 premium membership, we will make sure you get that game today. Also, Uvigo and Yaha We're playing 3+2 games today. The same applies to mech. So 3+2 games only. Twitch chat always has some interesting characters, some interesting stories. Unfortunately, no one today actually bothered answering the question I had in my title. What is the best thing that happened to you today? Actually, Marius wasn't here when I said my thing. Marius, I got 10 minutes before before I started the stream. I got an email from Norwegian that they're refunding my full amount. That is the best thing that happened to me today. Imagine getting the refund from Norwegian before I get the refund from SAS. You once took part in a regatta? Regatta? I think I mispronounced that. D64. You came in dead last. Honestly, I did one season of competitive cross-country skiing. No joke. My highlight of my cross-country skiing career was when I finished not last in one competition. I was second to last, and I am ashamed to say, but I did cheat. When when you go the classic style, you're not supposed to kind of, yeah. Somehow I cannot explain what I did in English, men jeg tok skøytetak i et klassisk løp, which is a big no-no. But no one was there. It was in the middle of the woods. I wanted to go home. I wanted it to go a bit quicker. Have you ever played David Howell? Yes, I have, Drunken Soul. David has a terrifying score against me. I don't fully understand why, but every time I play David, I lose. The best thing that happened to man from Utrecht today is squatting heavyweight. Wow. Man from Utrecht gifting 500 bits. Thank you so much for the Hammer Boat Fund. I saw some nice boats but used boats. I'm not gonna buy a new one. But in my family, we buy used cars and used boats. Such extravagant luxuries. There are some nice ones for like 100K. I'm pretty sure. Unless the prices have changed since last I was interested in this. Invite any Chess 24 peeps onto your boat. Well, of course, if I get the boat, I shall invite Magnus and we shall stream chess from the boat. I don't see what could go wrong. Naro, that actually legitimately does sound like very nice news. Finn, oh, the Norwegian marketplace for used items has been flooded with Ferraris after the coronavirus. Probably some good boat deals now as well. Yeah, the problem only, Marius, is that I don't have a driver's license, so I don't know how to get my boat out of the water for the winter season, which I feel is pretty critical for the Norwegian climate. Why on earth did I could have given a check here. It's just like instantly winning. But no, I took that one. Why not? Idiot. Maybe I can take this one. Oh, really? You can get people to do that for you, Marius? That's nice. Why is your message not unique? I don't know, Mr. Burns. Did you say skating? Mate in 3 coming in with a tier 2 sub for 28 months. Thank you so much, Mate in 3. Okay, we're going to take some bishops now. Good night, Marius. What? Good night? It's 9 p.m., dude. Wow, people are interesting. I cannot imagine my discipline ever allowing me to go to bed at 9 a.m., 9 p.m. I have gone to bed at 9 p.m. plenty of times though, but usually it's because I made other mistakes before that. I'm gonna pre-move this. Oh, the pre-move checkmate. That's how you do it. Predicting the opponent's intentions and then having a nice answer to it. Now would be a good time to get a driver's license because it's easier to drive with fewer people on the road. Yeah, that's a good point, Virtus. But frankly, the roads in Oslo are stacked still. Yeah. I was driving with my mom the other day, and it just felt like every other day. There were a lot of cars on the road. Yeah, thanks for the game, Kleinmeister. Your mom still drives you around? Of course she does, Crunchy Moo. What are you talking about? Are you saying you would not drive around with your mom? Good night, Remy. I'm starting to think, Crunchy Move, that you're not visiting your mom enough. Or that you have a driver's license yourself. But let me tell you, when you don't have a driver's license and you're a good boy and you visit your mom, then sometimes she drives you around. It's a nice perk. Okay, we're basically playing the semi-Tarash, although this was definitely not a semi-Tarash move order. But in general, it's considered that taking back with the knight here is advantageous. So in the semi-Tarash, we would have this position with the white queen on d2, and the black queen on d8 because the trade of bishops would be on this square instead of this e7 square. So just that difference in that white's queen is not developed and black's queen is developed is already making this a better version for black. And in addition, the fact that these pawns are not traded is also pretty good for black because this pawn is higher up the board than this pawn. And I can still choose to make this trade whenever I feel like. How do you fail driver's exams? I don't really know. I've never tried doing an exam. I imagine if I did, I wouldn't fail. Hey Komodo, how are you doing? Looking fresh? I don't know. I'm trying to save up for a beard. Trying something new. Comments like yours is gonna make me more likely to keep trying. But I'm not sure my face. Well, my face probably suits a beard, but I'm not sure the mechanics of my body supports growing one. So let's figure out what to do here. What's the next step? I kind of want to go g6 just to block this bishop. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe I can move my king also. The knight coming to e5. It's not really about the knight. Normally this is about the pawn wanting to protect on e4 so that you really lock this bishop out of the game. I think now is the time to start attacking white's pawns. So we're putting pressure on the d4 pawn. If he goes queen f3, we can go king g7 to protect. And if he goes queen e3, then we can use the rook to start chasing the queen, annoying the coordination in white's camp. Magnus style? Yeah. Trade, win. Early, well, it's not really early Magnus, because early Magnus was checkmate, a checkmating god. But like middle Magnus was a grinder, getting the most out of all his positions. And then new Magnus apparently is very tactical again. But it was interesting to see in the Magnus Invitational, Magnus was playing some like old school games that we were used to seeing from him in the good old days. Because in the match against Fabiano, Magnus was very aggressive with the black pieces. And in the ensuing year, where he had such tremendous success, he was playing much more aggressively than he normally does. And now in the Magnus Invitational the other week, then he was back to his grinding style, beating the opponents by just placing the pieces on better squares and stuff like that. What did you think when Magnus missed rook takes f6 against Ding? Well, I mean, I thought he was going to lose the match, Bateman. And I was doing commentary on Norwegian TV, and I had already noted that rook takes f6 was something to watch out for. So I was very confused. And basically rook takes f6 was winning regardless. But the way he played it, it was just a worse version of it. Okay, again we have these people who are sacrificing this pawn. But this time it's just bad. Because now white doesn't even get access to the d4 square for the knight. So I'm just going to take all of these gifts and say thank you very much. What's your opinion on the Sveshnikov? It's a good opening. It's a good opening. I mean, any opening played in a World Championship match is pretty much by default quite decent. What's the most accurate way to win here? I kind of want to do this. And this. I actually didn't want to do that. But it's working out okay because he forgot about his knight. What was Carlsen's reaction? I mean, we spoke to him after the match, but he was just very relieved. I definitely missed this. Okay, we're taking most of the pieces. It's usually a good sign. No, I mean, Magnus's mistake was just very silly, Mr. Burns. But I was pretty impressed with him that he managed to come back from it. But you could tell that he was pretty tilted. Because, yeah, his opening in the game after was just horrible. So his opening in the next game was definitely affected by the mistake he made in the previous. And Ding was so close to knocking Magnus out of that semifinal. Hey, Unconventional, how are you doing? Thanks for the lessons. No worries, Frey loss. Good game. Let's move on. So remember that we're looking for 3 games with the time control 3+2. So I'm going to decline those of you who have not challenged 3+2. And also declining those who are not premium members. We have 3 challenges. We have time for a couple more. I'll be streaming another half an hour-ish. Do you have any goals of playing the candidates or world championship games in the future? No, I'm not good enough for that, Mateen. It's pretty unusual to exchange those bishops. Normally you go back here, which is weird because you just moved that bishop. But the idea is that white's bishop here on d2 is misplaced. That there are some variations white would like to play knight d2. So you give this check and then you go back, claiming essentially that this position is worse for white than this position, with the bishop still in c1. That's nuances. Is it harder to be the great dominating Carlsen now compared to a few years ago? I would say definitely yes. It keeps getting more difficult, Landon. But that's just partly because of the tools the other players have available are so powerful. And computers are so good, they're a great equalizer in in the opening, but also kind of it makes it more difficult to win regardless of the skill gap. So yeah, I would say computers make dominating more difficult. Should 1,500 players focus more on openings or tactics to improve? I'm a big fan of solving puzzles, doing tactics. So I think that's the best way. But in general, openings are pretty good for short-term progress, while tactics and end games and general game sense is what will help you out in the long run. So I would say I would do openings if you kind of stagnate, if you struggle with your motivation, but you have motivation to check out this specific opening or something like that, then and then the rest of the time, you know, I would stick with the rest. Because openings you can often get motivated to do regardless of circumstance, while general improvement, tactics, and stuff like that, I feel is best when you're feeling good and are properly motivated. Well, not properly motivated, but self motivated. Hikaru's stream is so chaotic. Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Casablanca? Oh, it's not Casablanca, of course, because we're chess players. It's Capablanca. My bad. I guess I'm getting tired. That's the thing about Hikaru and some of the other chess streamers. They don't get tired. I don't understand it. 3 hours of chess on stream, I get so tired. Even though I'm, as you say, not chaotic. It drains me. I have poor stamina. Do you think they'll pick up the candidates where they left off? Yes, they will. I can see them pushing the world championships further out. Yes, I think they're going to do that. So I think the world championship match was supposed to be held in conjunction with the Dubai World Expo. Um, so I think because the Dubai event actually got postponed as well, I think guaranteed the World Chess Championship is going to be postponed, and it's going to be like in April of 2021. He did a 24-hour stream last week. Yeah, that's insane. Capablanca, that's just crazy. 24-hour streams are not healthy, but Twitch viewers like it, so it's worth it. What is the role of a second in chess? So the way I like to say it is that a second is an opening helper. But of course you cannot help during a game of chess. So it's basically a grunt worker doing opening preparations for the player. So like, for instance, between World Championship games, Magnus needs to rest. So he's resting while other people come up with good opening ideas. And you're going to need some good opening ideas because you're in a world championship match. You're always going to have more information about what your opponent is planning to do in the opening after a game has been played. So you're constantly trying to improve your preparations based on the additional info you got in the last game on what kind of openings the opponent has prepared and whether or not you can find some good ideas against it, or whether it's problematic, or whether you have to change openings because the opponent found such a good idea, and stuff like that. So it's to preserve the energy of the star, which in my case was Magnus, but like Hikaru has seconds, and Karana has seconds, and Giri has seconds, and all the top players in the world have other people helping them out do their opening work. Hey Tankan, how are you doing? Are you allowed as a Chess24 streamer to participate in stream Lee chess tournaments? No, Maiden 3. I signed exclusivity with Chess24 just like I signed exclusivity with chess.com back in the day. But I can play in the tournament, no problem. I'm not interested, to be honest. Do seconds get paid for doing what they do? Yes, Henry. Yes, they do. It would appear the Dark Knight has not risen, or at least is not awake to play this game. So we're gonna move on to Himanshu. Okay, Himanshu has played. I'm gonna play. What am I gonna play? I'm gonna go with the Karakan this game. Mr. Burns, I could participate in that. Are you gonna do it? I would be interested. It would be very nice for my boat plans. That tournament could finance my fancy new yacht. You would change your name? That's fine, Nisha. I could beat you in the tournament. That sounds manageable. This variation is surprisingly annoying. The problem with the Caro-Kann at the moment is not that the Caro-Kann is a bad opening. It's just that we have discovered that there's like 5 or 6 or 7 different ways, good ways for white to play against the Caro-Kann. So the Caro-Kann is a pretty decent opening for black, but it's just there's so many good options for white, which makes it impractical to play. Will you play any online tournament? I have in the past, and I suspect I will in the future as well, Haka. Apparently, I'm very popular today. I'm getting so many text messages. Huh, interesting. You build yachts for a living? Oh my gosh. Mate in 3. Are you gonna hook me up with a super discount? At the very least, give me some advice. What kind of boat should I be looking for? I don't know if you were here for the boating discussion, but we already talked a bit about the ambitions. You know what? I'm gonna go here. And I feel like there's a 50% chance I'm gonna win this night. That my opponent is not gonna give the protection the knight deserves. With chess engines getting stronger, wouldn't the number of good openings get pretty limited at some point? I mean, do you mean for black or for white? I'm actually tempted to taking this knight and taking on a2 next. Ooh, b3. That doesn't feel right to me. I feel like I should be able to do some stuff here on the queen side now. Get the rook involved and then just push this guy. Either. Well, with white, you're never going to run out of decent openings because with white, you have a little initiative. So you're never going to be worse out of you'll always be able to find some idea with white without getting a bad position. And with black, yes, we may discover that some black openings are not so good, but even today, a lot of players are willing to take a fair amount of risk in order to try and win with the black pieces. You know what? I'm actually going to take this. They say opposite colored bishops are drawish. That's what they say. But we're going to prove them wrong. Up to your bank account. Okay. But like what's good made in 3? Like if I were to go on fin.no right now, what qualities am I looking for in a boat? Don't ask for boating suggestions. You have Viking blood. But I think despite having Viking blood, I would like my boat to at the very least have a motor. There are I understand my Viking heritage. I'm just saying there have been some advancements in boating since then. You thought computers would be able to suggest good alliance against most openings? Yeah, and that's certainly the case, Henry. I'm just saying, you know, even if something is a good line, it can still be played. Wow. This man is trying to attack me. How rude. If I take that one, he's going to go rook b7. He's going to claim that there's no way to make progress for me. And he's not wrong. Definitely not wrong. Yeah, I don't know. a4 was maybe a mistake. The idea of putting the rook on d4 was pretty good for white. Pretty clever idea. Okay, but now I'm gonna take this one if he gives me another chance. Ooh, but he didn't give me another chance. Clever guy. Okay. Yeah, he still has the h4 break. I might even be worse here with this pawn moving forward. I'm gonna reroute my king to e6 and then try to get the king infiltrating somehow. I want to force him to use the bishop to protect both of these pawns at the same time. Wow, he did go h4. I mean, if I want to win this game, I have to take it. But I'm not sure how I'm winning after that. Yeah, this is not great. You build yachts for billionaires. Are you saying I'm not a billionaire? I'm not worthy of your boats? Feels bad. Suddenly I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. Okay, just as I said that, I won the game. I don't know, somehow I felt my king had been moderately safe and his king was still struggling a little bit. Like, for instance, if he tries to evacuate his king further back, I don't know, I thought maybe I could push my king up or something. Maybe he's fine. If I get my pawn to f4, this is super dangerous for white, because then he's just getting checkmated. But I guess he's still okay. Maybe I made a mistake somewhere. No. He needed to go bishop d6. Because if he doesn't do that, it's so easy for me to go f5, f4. Like give a check, force the king back, f4. And then it's just, this is too dangerous. I think this is winning for me. But bishop d6 has both, number one, it's check against the king. And if the king moves here, then I'm not protecting the f4 square. So it's not going to be, I'm not going to be able to push the pawn up. If I go to f5, yes, I'm keeping this king at bay, but now my king is blocking the potential for my pawn to move forward. So probably this is a draw still. This is a line from Selecki's course on Chessable. Let's see, what was the opening? Cairo, are you sure about that? I think c5 is a mistake against g6. I'm pretty sure c5 has been recommended in some surprising lines recently for white after e6, then c5. This, I couldn't take this seriously, but this is actually interesting. But against g6, I think it's just bad. Because then black gets that counterplay against d4 very quickly. I'm pretty sure this c5 idea is just bad when I go g6. Frankly, that's part of the reason why I did go g6. Because I remembered that these lines have just been causing a bit of trouble for me. So g6, I feel like normal thing to do is take. This is some line. I play with the white pieces. Would be awesome to play some banter blitz from the boat. Yeah, Dvertis. I hear 5G is coming. And it's gonna be great. We can do streaming on 5G internet. Should be awesome. Wow. Today we learned, number one, that Marius was a competitive sailor, and we learned that Maiden 3 builds yachts for billionaires. And he really did say, I don't know much about the yachts in your price range, which is like, you know, still quite a significant amount of money, but it's just not what he does. Okay, Orpheus. Let's go d4. What's a practical opening to play against e4? Says Aikido. Um, I don't know. Practical depends on the person, right? What you find intuitive and stuff like that. I don't think there's a right answer for everyone there. You can check out the opening repertoire I created in the with a video course on Chess 24. But yeah, playing black and having an easy to remember lines against every variation white can do, I'm not even sure it exists. I think Fischer played it like this with knight c3 and a4. White gets a nice center. And since you don't have the pawn on c4, that's kind of one of the justifications for why you can grab space on the queen side with a4. Because if you do that when all your pawns are aggressive, then you leave a lot of weaknesses. But here, 2 pawns in the center and pushing on the side works together well. I hope you know better than spending billions on buying boats. Yes, I promise that if I ever am in the situation where I find myself buying a boat, I shall only use millions and not billions. E4 is more complicated than D4? No. I wouldn't say so, Haka. It's 2 different openings though. They present different challenges. Virtus, there's plenty of people doing niche markets. I'm here streaming chess. I know a bit about that. Queenside openings hugely transpositional. Yeah, but that's not really, I mean, that's not neither here nor there when evaluating the kind of positions that arise. But yeah, e4 is more direct. So as a beginner, you will be presented with more challenges. Starting out, e4 is going to feel more challenging. Then the better you get and the better you are at defending that immediate onslaught, some of those. How did I end up being worse in this position? I need to shut up and start looking at my game. How on earth did I manage to get outplayed in this opening? D5? I mean, it's very classical to go d5 after b6 because then c6 is never really an option for black without creating a lot of weaknesses. I guess I should have taken this pawn. Also not sure about this move. Okay, whatever. We're getting low on time and I'm not really liking my position. I guess I have to go back where I came from. Sure, Maiden 3. We would play the hip. We would invent, actually. We would invent a new opening. The yacht opening. And then we would play that opening all the time. Okay. It's looking as though this is going to be my last game. So let's finish on a high. But this knight is so annoying. Taking on g3 was a big mistake though. So I'm definitely not feeling as depressed as I was earlier. But he's about to go knight h5. That's actually pretty annoying. Okay, I had this idea to go knight f1 to defend myself, but then he can get his bishop involved. Yeah, I'm actually maybe I was wrong. Maybe taking on g3 was not a mistake. It just felt very strange to me. How do you qualify to the World Rapid and Blitz when you're Norwegian? Um, the winner of every national championship qualifies. And in addition to that, you're qualified if you have higher than 2600 in one of the World Chess Federation ratings. So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You've been requesting the hippo for 2 years? Wow, Maiden 3. I guess that kind of dedication should be rewarded. But the hippo is just such a bad opening. Also, Orpheus is exchanging pieces when I have the bishop pair, which is just not a good idea. This is not going to work out for him. Do you want to be again Magnus's second again? There was a time I wanted to Goldick, but not so much anymore. I'm old now. I'm out of the game. I feel kind of I haven't spent a lot of time on my openings for a very long time, and that kind of it means that I don't feel like I have that much to contribute. That all my like nice ideas are old. I guess we're doing this. You have a good position? I think so, Kaka. I think so, but it's still gonna we're gonna need to play some good moves to win this, such as this move. It's a pretty good move. Definitely did blunder bishop f8. Definitely did not see that move either. Okay, that I feel like was a mistake though. Okay, now he's letting me get that one. That was definitely wrong. Oh, he just blundered. He got panicked. He panicked, and the experience of playing with seconds on the clock prevails. Vines, veins filled with ice. I'm ice cold in the pressure situation. Is Jan Gustafsson a good second? Well, Magnus seems to like having him around, so I'm gonna say yes, he is. Because when you're the second to the world champion, you're definitely doing something right. Are you saying that your good opening ideas are so 2013? Yeah, pretty much, Dorotis. So when are we going to see you there? I'm not very interested in playing the World Blitz and Rapid Ravior. It's a very expensive tournament to participate in, and not only is it expensive to play, it's also expensive for me because I have really interesting alternatives. So there's this concept in economics of alternative costs, which is basically saying that the cost of doing something is not only necessarily the cost of participating of hotels and flights and stuff like that. It's also you need to calculate what you could have gotten instead. And I have some very lucrative commentating gigs with Norwegian broadcasters. So as long as Norwegian broadcasters are interested in having me doing commentary on Magnus's play in said World Championships, opportunity cost. What did I call it, Henry? Yeah, alternate cost. Yeah, no, that's because yeah, it's just a bad translation for me because in Norwegian it literally translates to alternate cost. But yes, of course, opportunity cost is the correct term in English. Um, but yes, as I was saying, as long as Magnus is playing and people want me to do commentary, then I'll probably prioritize that. Best thing that happened to you today is watching this stream. Oh, Mead. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm done for today. Tune back in on Wednesday. I'm thinking on Wednesday we're going to do some tactics. We're going to use the tactics frenzy game. So I'm going to misspell it. Tactics frenzy. The link is in the chat. No, there's no link in the chat actually. Playmagnus.com/tactics frenzy. If you want to check it out before Wednesday, get ahead of us. Maybe, for instance, you want to be on top of the leaderboards, which is definitely going to be featured on stream on Wednesday. You now have 2 days to grind and get your name on those leaderboard lists. We're gonna do a little raid. Vertvich, let's see. 1 or 2 words of advice on how to study the opening repertoire. You're making the games into PGNs, and then you study after collect them. Yeah, that's pretty slow, Vertvich, but in general, repetition is key. So what I learned is that you're supposed to repeat something like 8 times in order for it to really stick. And I think the method you're using is really good. It's just that learning such an extensive opening repertoire and so many different openings, it's extremely time consuming. So the reason you feel like it's slow is not because you're doing anything wrong. It's just because it's supposed to be slow with that huge amount of material I dumped on you. It's just there's so many lines to learn that of course it's going to be slow because it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because learning a way to play against every opening is a lot of work. Thank you so much for the 50 bits, Vertwitch. Wow, Bager. You're saying it's not the same vibe on my stream when I play on Chess24? I didn't change. I'm still the same guy. The only vibe that changed was that a lot of people who watched me when I played on chess.com stopped watching me after I switched. I didn't change. It's that people are so addicted to watching people on certain websites that they care more about the website than the person making the content. I don't think I'm the problem. Let's find someone to raid. Let's see. Let me open my Twitch. And you get some extra points in the system. We're actually going to send you to a Swede. I know this is controversial, but while Norwegian thinks Swedes are not the greatest ever, we tolerate them. And we tolerate them more after we found oil and after they stopped, ruling over our country. So we're going to send you over to Anna Kamling. She's the daughter of Pia Kamling, who is the strongest ever female player in the Nordic countries. And Anna has been streaming ever since the start of the year, and she's been doing pretty good. So make sure to use your raid emotes. Come back to watch me on Wednesday.